And I think what you touched on in terms of like making promises to yourself is something that I think sometimes we underestimate in terms of, I think we feel often more compelled to keep promises to other people, and that it's almost okay to break the promises that we make to ourselves. And often that means that we don't always fulfill the potential that we have, which is why I wanted to have you guys on, because one of the things that I found really inspiring was being able to see you guys as students who had lived a whole life before, right? You've lived a whole life, but then there was this catalyst that created the change to be like, do you know what? This career, this lifestyle I've lived, I'm actually ready to make a shift into something different. So for those who don't know, like both Zohar and Cam were working previously and then was studying graphic design in the evening until like 9:30 p.m. So like they would finish work, come to class, and then like be switched on to like start designing and creating. So what was the catalyst for you guys in terms of wanting to make that career shift?
I think for me in general, like I always was into design. I always wanted that this is what I want to do, but it took me time to understand. Because basically when you say I want to be a designer, it's like being in a room full of like 100 doors basically. You just need to choose the door that you want to go into. And then when I choose graphic design, obviously, like you open a door just to discover you're going into a room that's full with 100 doors again. So it took me time to understand which path I want to take. But you know the series Insecure.
And with Issa Rae.
And it was Girls, sorry. With Lena Dunham, I think.
Oh, okay,
So there was like an episode there. This is like very cheesy, but it really like motivated me at that point. Like when she's going to an interview, and then the woman just like draw a circle on the wall. And she said, you see, this is like your comfort zone. And then she drew a dot out of the circle. And she said, this is where you're going to succeed when you want to leave your comfort zone. So I've been working at the same place for like 4 years, doing something that I didn't really want to do. It was like a ticket just to like move here, basically. And I was just like, you know what? Like life is too short. I need to take this, like, I need to do that before I'm gonna regret that. So going to like graphic design was like, I have to do that for myself. Like you were saying, like the relationship with yourself and the promises you're making. I was like, this is for you.
I love that. It's so interesting that like it was this TV show, but that visual like picture of like the circle and then the dot outside is something that's like so simple, but then looking at it can feel really scary when you understand the context of like, I'm comfortable here, and then in order to like really like succeed and propel myself, like I have to step outside of that, and that is not, it's not a simple thing. It's really not. What about for you, Cam?
I think the whole comfort zone thing really resonates with me as well, because that's exactly the same. I kind of got to a point in my life, I think maybe age as well, where I was like, if I don't do it now, I never will. I grew up in South Africa, and when I was a kid, like I was really into graphics. I remember like I used to do posters and stuff for my family's business, and I started off with Coral Draw and clip art. I remember like borrowing Coral Draw. I remember borrowing Coral Draw. It was like came in like 10 floppy disks to install into like Windows 95. It was like a long time ago, but yeah, that's how I kind of started. And I never really thought of it as a career. So it was something I was interested in, but not as a career. I was never really encouraged. I remember in school, I said I wanted to get into advertising, and they were like, get that idea out of your head. Like,
is this in South Africa still?
Yeah. So, because I think I kind of grew up in a very traditional environment. So people became accountants, lawyers, doctors, that kind of thing. So even though I was always interested in the creative side of things, I never really went down that route. I ended up doing business and marketing. That was like the closest I could get
to something creative.
right?
Yeah, got it.
So it's kind of like goes back to the whole thing about I was working for like the last 14 years in online advertising, but on the tech side, so not the creative side again. And it got to a point where I was like, I need to do this now, or I just never will.